Hello, and welcome to the first in a series of Teaching and Learning Excellence Division updates that we will be hosting throughout the remainder of this academic year. My name is Susan Thomason, and I'm the Associate Vice President of the Division. Since December of 2016, when a variety of different offices around the college were merged under one umbrella called Instructional Services. Today I want to talk to you about three particular things that relate to the work that we're doing and the services that we provide. I want to talk a little bit about the broad vision that we have in the alignment of this work. I want to talk to you about some of the large-scale college-wide initiatives that we are working on, that we're spearheading. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about the communication plan that we have established to work more closely and to align this work with what faculty need and what faculty challenges are. So part of the vision that we have in this division is to really look at the broader faculty experience. As we did a needs analysis in aligning this work, we really needed to find out what faculty were wanting, were needing in the daily work that they do at the college, but also some of the larger scale needs that came with leadership and management and onboarding. So the whole trajectory of the faculty experience, what we're calling from hire to retire and even beyond, is some of the work that we were doing. We did a lot of meetings, we did focus groups initially, we reached out to faculty, reached out to various offices around the college, and that helped to frame what we were calling sort of the primary focus, which is convergence of services and resources, so that there is a one-stop shop sort of approach for faculty to find what they need when they need it, and that we're very responsive to what faculty are wanting and the support that they need for their courses. So in talking about the faculty experience, some of the work that we've already been doing has been outreach to the faculty associations, to the Faculty Senate, and the Adjunct Faculty Association. We've been meeting with them on a fairly regular basis. We are now including them as partners in this work at a very different level than we've done in the past. We are ensuring that there is a clear faculty voice, not just in the work that we're doing, but also at the point of some of the strategic planning initiatives that the college has. A little bit about my background and how I ended up sort of in this role, or sort of the background that brought me to be able to do some of this work. I have worked at various institutions around the country. I worked at the Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York, in their distance learning and instructional technologies area. I worked at Old Dominion University in a similar type of environment. In Norfolk, Virginia. I also did some work in the South Carolina Technical College system as they were establishing their statewide network for video conferencing. So a lot of the work that I had been doing dealt with faculty development efforts, technology efforts, and really alignment of services across various areas. In addition, I have a PhD in curriculum and instruction, which really is a framework for teaching and learning. In addition, also a background in career and human resource development, instructional design, and my bachelor's degree is in liberal arts. So a pretty broad background that I'm using to leverage and bring to the table in a lot of the conversations that we're having with faculty in some of this work. So we aligned and combined several offices around the college that were previously reporting to different areas. I'm going to go through some of these, and I'm going to highlight some of the specific things that are unique in the reorganization that we have had and we've conducted over the past 8 months. A lot of conversations have taken place. There actually have been sort of 2 different level reorganizations in that period. We anticipate one additional possible reorganization with some changes coming in the next fiscal year. So we now include the ACC libraries. As you know, those are at all the different campuses. Not a significant change in the reorganization within that area, other than we have moved the role of the copyright officer under the libraries. And you will be learning more about that in future programming, as well as in some of the communications that we have. The Office of Articulation and University Relations used to be Articulation and Transfer Office. And the college, in some of the work that they're doing on the student services side of the house, have really refocused the efforts of career and transfer work that's really student-facing work, and that's moved under student services, which allowed us to then take this particular office and realign the work that they are doing, still focus on articulation, which is a critical part of the pathways work and the alignment of the curriculum from our 2-year plans to 4-year institution transfer, but looking at really building relationships with universities in a better way or in a broader way. That office will be hosting events where we bring together university partners here to the campus. We reach out, they're already reaching out to the university partners at their sites. We are increasing the number of articulation agreements we have available with the goal of better aligning pathways for students. The Office of Distance Learning is now the Office of Distance and Alternative Learning, and we have moved under that office the work of competency-based education. We also now have a dean over that area, Dr. Erasmus Aday, and he will be hosting one of the future programs for you, so he'll be talking about some of the work that is going on in his particular area, not just with competency-based instruction, which we're going to be growing, and we're already having conversations with a variety of additional departments from the work that we had done in the past with IT areas. The other conversation that we're having is also the broadening of some of the roles of the Virtual College of Texas, which actually also is under that umbrella, even though they don't report directly to ACC. But there's a lot of work and a lot of conversation statewide that's being done on how we can expand some of those services and efforts of the Virtual College of Texas. And then in the distance learning realm, there is a task force that was called together through Dr. Cook, our provost, to really look at and operationalize some of the previous recommendations that had been made through task forces and committees on improving the quality of distance learning and growing the distance learning programs, in particular the online programs that we're going to try to rebrand through an ACC Online sort of header. So you'll be hearing again more about that if you're interested in some of those distance learning offerings or even in some of the training that we'll have opportunities for you to learn more about that. We've also inherited the Office of Cooperative Education and Internships, which is actually also a new name, previously Experiential Learning, which is actually the broader umbrella under which that lies. But we're trying to focus the name so it's a lot clearer, not just for the current audience here at the college, but audiences outside of ACC. Tied to that are service learning programs, the Office of Service Learning, which has also been moved under our area. And both of those offices support experiential learning with, again, an effort to grow those programs, knowing that those are best practices and proven strategies to enhance student persistence as well as overall student success. So any kind of hands-on or active learning kinds of programs like that we want to encourage and we want to grow. The Office of Curriculum Development has previously existed under a different name, Instructional Services or Instructional Support, and some of the things that we're talking about in that office really are about realigning the work of pathways with our program maps. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, as well as some work with our current college catalog. A newly formed sort of group is the Office of Instructional and Faculty Development, and what we did there was take offices that already existed that were supporting faculty development efforts and put them under one umbrella. So we have the instructional designers who are located at all the different campuses in that area. We have faculty development programs who support many different initiatives and projects that we have around the college, from sabbatical to mentoring to the great teaching retreats. So there's a lot really going on in that office. There's the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning under Dr. Missy Patterson, and the work that they're doing with a lot of faculty outreach and engagement. And we've also incorporated the Faculty Evaluation Office under that umbrella, with the idea that evaluation and development really are sort of a cyclical process, and how we can better support not just faculty and department chairs in those efforts, but how they can serve in terms of that faculty experience that we were talking about. And last but not least, in an area that's sort of still morphing, because we are looking at sort of the different types of jobs that are within this area. But the Office of Instructional Technology, we have labeled and grouped what was video production, the web development team, which we're now expanding, and we're sort of providing additional staff to support a variety of different web initiatives and efforts on the instructional side at the college for departments, for divisions, as well as the areas in our unit. Also, we have classroom technology. There's been a lot of work with that in the last month with getting up and running the classrooms at the Highland campus, as you may have heard. And last but not least, media services, which, as you know, are located at all the different campuses. So there were some areas that had been part of the broader IRT, Instructional Resources and Technology, in the past. They had separated from us, and now we've brought them back under the umbrella and under the idea that all of these really serve faculty and how we can leverage that staff to do a lot more with what we're doing at the different campuses and across the college. The next sort of premise of some of our work is how we're leveraging the work that we're doing and how we're expanding partnerships and creating better and deeper partnerships with all the different entities around the college. We have been working on a lot of initiatives that really require us to have better relationships with information technology, how we work with Human Resources Office, how we're working with the different departments in general. And so partnership is a big effort and initiative. We're going to be doing more of the work on these initiatives with these partners, but we're also going to highlight the different responsibilities and aspects that these partners have in some of the work that we're doing, and then how we participate in those partnerships. So that's an exciting thing, and I think that's been well received across all the different areas that we've talked to. So now I want to talk a little bit about the innovations that we have coming. And I call them innovations because while some of them are not sort of new, they're potentially new to the college and some of the things that we're doing. The idea behind an effort to push innovation is that we want to be consistent with change. And I don't know if that's an oxymoron, but the idea, you know, I was doing a presentation recently to our staff, and I was talking about the fact that we can't be complacent on this is the way we do things, or this is the way we've always done it. We really need to be looking on a constant basis at new technologies, new strategies, and really what the data is telling us. That's another part of this work, is that we're going to not only be collecting more and better data, but we're going to be making sure that that's made available to you, it's transparent to you, and that you're part of the conversation that we have when we look at that data and we make decisions based on that. But there's a slide that I came upon that says, change is hard at the beginning, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. And so I think that we're still between the hard at the beginning and messy in the middle, because we're still going through quite a bit of change. But the idea is that we're wanting to get to that point where it is gorgeous at the end, and we're actually seeing and reaping some of the benefits of some of this change already. So in future programs, you'll be able to see some of that as well. So the initiatives that we have that support the strategic plan in particular, if you haven't seen the strategic plan, it is available online. We are going to be having more conversations around what is in the strategic plan and how our particular office supports those initiatives at various events throughout the year, including General Assembly, which is coming up on the 29th of this month. But one of the significant changes, or one of the significant efforts that we've been working on, are the program maps. There's still a lot of conversation about the map content and design. We're calling the most recent version of the maps, I think it's 2.0 at this point, with the idea that there will be a 3.0 version and eventually an online database that will be able to feed the maps. And we've had conversations about the fact that a lot of that needs to be automated to ensure accuracy and common entry points for some of the data that feeds those maps. But the maps are being used already. They're being shared with students as a way for them to start looking at what their potential pathway would be. And as I said, that conversation about the university relations link is that at some institutions around the country, students actually get the map that includes the first 2 years at the community college and the second 2 years at the transfer institution all at the same time. And so where we can and where we think that's a possibility, we would like to have that available for our students, and that's why we're trying to sort of redesign and look at those university relationship efforts and the partnerships. Related to the program maps is some other work that we're doing in looking at the college catalog, and there's a couple of things there in terms of the redesign of the content, redesign of the structure and the sequencing of some of the content. And if you're familiar with a website where you connect to the catalog currently, or even where you've connected to what's called the student handbook and the catalog potentially are the same document at this point. So we've had conversations about really pulling out some of the content to create a true student handbook that would still be tied and aligned with the catalog, which will have all the curricular and the instructional content, and then aligning all the program maps to that catalog. Currently, the way that is being done, if you're familiar again with the website, is that there's a PDF document that is created. It was taking probably several months for a variety of entities around the college to provide content for the catalog and to feed it to a centralized source. It then had to be typeset and developed into this sort of PDF version of the catalog. And what was happening is we were having some delays in getting the catalog out when it was needed. So what we're trying to do now is move the entire catalog to an online format that would allow us to have more timely updates as needed, as well as be able to have it available and ready on the first day of registration for the spring semester. For the fall semester, so it would be ready in the spring. So that's a pretty significant effort. That is requiring that partnership work that we talked about with IT, with the Office of Curriculum Development, with our instructional designers, clearly with the department chairs and the faculty, and some of our own staff that deal with programming and web design and whatnot. So, but our goal is to have that available and ready next year. We will be putting a group together that will include faculty and staff to spearhead that effort. We will also be inviting department chairs and faculty to participate in that university summit that we were talking about. And that is being divided up sort of into two different events. One in the fall, where we're going to hopefully focus on the leadership aspect of letting our university partners know about the work that we're doing with guided pathways, and potentially in the spring, a hands-on activity for our faculty to work with faculty members from the four-year institutions that have alignment, either articulation agreements or are wanting to do alignment work with our curriculum and programs. Another significant effort or initiative is the work of open educational resources. The strategic plan of the coordinating board talks to the need to lower the cost ratio of educational for students, and OER is a significant part of that. We're looking at a lot of other possibilities of lowering costs for students, but in addition to what we're calling open educational resources, we're also looking at low-cost options. So open really infers a particular type of development with certain kind of Creative Commons licensing, but there are things that faculty can do that maybe don't have open resources, but they still can use either free resources or very low-cost resources. We've been talking to several vendors in the last few months about their initiatives because they see that there is a push towards open educational resources to lowering the cost, and they're really coming up with a lot of better pricing structures for educational materials. And so we want to leverage that. We want to bring faculty into the conversation to learn more about that, and we want to share that those decisions in terms of how we proceed or work through some of the additional resources that we can make available to faculty for that. The other work, as I mentioned, was the alignment of this Instructional Faculty Development Office. There is a lot of work that is going on within those departments. And in addition to work that is already happening, there's a lot of new there are a lot of new projects that are coming to the table because we're trying to redefine the onboarding processes for faculty. Again, in light of looking at that faculty experience. So where in the past we had some very limited opportunities for participation in onboarding, we're now expanding those opportunities. Some of you who are new to the college in faculty roles have already received communication from us about programming that's available as new faculty. And in particular, one of the things that's unique about this work this semester is that we're making this available to adjunct faculty with stipends attached and funding attached. So new adjuncts who participate can go through some online materials as well as attend the faculty seminar series that's hosted through the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning and be compensated for their time in that. And so that's a new initiative that we have, a new effort. We're hoping to work with those associations, as I mentioned before, to grow those programs, make them more robust, have faculty provide input, and in some cases faculty would be participants in leading and delivering some of that training. We've been offering the Digital Fellows program. There's a second round of digital fellowships, of faculty fellowships available this year. But we've added another component through some funding that Dr. Cook, our provost, has made available to us called the Digital Fellows program. We've sent out some announcements about that. There is a website available for you to take a look at. The applications are not due until the 28th of this month, but it's an opportunity with funding behind it for faculty not only to look at employing technologies in their classrooms to improve outcomes or to better serve students in a variety of ways, but also we're going to be looking at some software that helps us look at alignment of student learning outcomes and artifacts and other assessment tools that we can then use in our program review process, as well as other processes to improve learning. We've been looking and working with the other associate vice presidents of the division in the job descriptions and roles of department chairs. The conversation there is broader than just the job descriptions and the roles of the chairs, and expands to some work and some needs analysis that we did on the supporting department chairs in their new roles as they're assigned, and how we provide training and professional development for them. The conversation expanded also to include the work that we're doing with the Leadership Academy. And so we're partnering with faculty organizations as well as the Human Resources Office to look at how we can provide the accurate and the best possible training available for new chairs, as well as how can we expand on the leadership programs that we have available, not just for faculty but for staff, the Leadership Academy, and how we can align all of that work and help faculty in particular look at other leadership roles and possibilities. We started that work by hosting an Austin Competency Analysis Profile. It's called an ACAP. We have more information about that on our website, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about it if you like. But it's really a way for us to develop job profiles and look at the responsibilities and competencies within a job, as well as the competency builders for those. We use the same process for developing curriculum and programs. In this case, when we're looking at job profiles, we were trying to really assess what the department chairs needed and what they were doing in their current roles. We hosted one for department chairs on the transfer side. We hosted one for department chairs on the workforce side. And to round out that conversation that's actually being had at the dean, AVP, and department chair level with this content that we've handed to them or provided for them, we also did an ACAP for the administrative assistants of department chairs to look at some of the roles that they had and the support that they were providing in sort of that realm. Our goal is to have a newly developed proposal for a leadership and management program for faculty, that would yield some opportunities for faculty to then either get leadership experience, get supervisory experience, and move into leadership roles with some background already. And so that's an ongoing effort. We are going to request and have faculty participate in those conversations. We do have a quick turnaround on a lot of this with the goal of having these proposals ready by the end of January. But everything from the onboarding to the leadership and management program, including orientations and some of this work around the department chairs' efforts and support, it is going to be completed this particular semester, again, with the goal of bringing it to the leadership in January. The other part of our work, probably in the last 2 months, I would say, has been the bulk of this particular initiative, and that's been re-envisioning teaching and learning spaces at the college. We've been at the table on conversations about the new campuses that are being built, San Gabriel, as well as some of the redesign efforts of the Rio Grande campus. And in the spaces that we traditionally managed, where in the past we'd sort of done, again, the way that the way we do business is replicating things that we've done in the past. Now we're saying, you know, what should teaching and learning spaces that support faculty collaboration, that support some of these initiatives to have cross-collaboration between faculty and students or faculty and other areas of college, what should they look like? And how can we make these spaces more inviting for faculty? How can we have not only the technology potentially that's needed, and I'm talking here in particular to the FRCs, Faculty Resource Centers at each campus, but how does that integrate then what's going on in the libraries, in the computer facilities that are nearby? How do we then look at the role of media staff and instructional designers at the campuses? Those of you that are familiar with what's at the campuses, you know, there are support staff, there are faculty librarians at the campuses, so there are staff at all the campuses, and we want to make the spaces that not only that they work in, but that you come in and use as faculty and or staff, or even students in some cases, again, be more inviting and really serve the broader need. So the conversations have really been, if we were to take everything out of these spaces, you know, we traditionally have had sort of a room where we had computers around the edge of the room. People would come in, they might do a couple of projects at a time. There clearly were media staff there, but the role, again, even of the media staff and how they can help support faculty in doing, whether it's a PowerPoint or a video or anything that they might need for their courses. Instructional designers are there, also for course design and redesign efforts. So we're going to be inviting some comments and some conversation from faculty on these spaces. We're going to be meeting in these spaces with faculty to talk about how we can re-envision what's in there. Do we need different furniture? Do we need different technologies? So it's an exciting time. I mean, it's clearly easier to be done with some of the new campuses where we can come in at the forefront and make some of these decisions. It's going to be a little bit more challenging to go back and look at the existing campuses and what we can do. But we're making every effort to do that. And we think that that is going to be a critical part in how we, again, re-envision what we're doing with teaching and learning and the innovations that we're talking about bringing to the table in that field. We are focusing also a lot of this because there is so much going on and there's so many offices involved and not just with us but all these partners that we're talking about. The idea of having a very targeted and focused communication plan for faculty is really one of the key or center points of our work. We're trying to streamline the outreach to faculty. We have a process where we had done an audit of the different types of communication that was going on between all of these offices under our division and faculty and other areas. And it really looked like this unruly spider web, if you can imagine that. Most spider webs aren't unruly, but this particular graphic showed that there was just so many lines of communication. And as you know, it's difficult enough as it is to just get to the email that we have to deal with on a sort of urgent basis or an immediate basis. So our goal and our role in this work is to really help funnel a lot of that content and a lot of that information to faculty in a more targeted way. You probably have already received a couple of communications from us with a newsletter, another one that had sort of the weekly updates and of different things that are going on at the college, and we're going to carry those out indefinitely in the future. We have a new, so the two that you see on the screen, you'll see there is the monthly newsletter that you're going to be getting, and then there is the faculty events, which will be a weekly communication to you on what's going on that week to help you sort of plan for events that are coming up. We also have redesigned our website, and at this point it's a 1.0 version of the redesign. The idea here is that we're trying to place things in a functional format so that it's easier for faculty to find. All of the previous websites still exist. We did not change those or move those in any way. What we did is we created sort of a front page where we can then categorize this content into various what we thought were logical processes and overarching headings. We're still working with our different areas to add elements to this website, to remove and realign and change and improve content on this website, with the idea that we will have a 2.0 version of this site, which will then eventually clearly merge all of the other sites. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of pages between all the different areas of our college. The library website, however, will be in a second redesign phase that we will take on in the following year. So that one is still in the process of a lot of the research that's going on and looking at best practices for library websites. But that is sort of on our docket. We are trying to engage faculty also through social media. We're building that presence. So if you can like us on Facebook, or you can connect with us on Twitter. We're going to be using these social media platforms in a lot of the events that we have, actually in all of the events that we have coming up, including General Assembly, where you'll have an opportunity to actually win some prizes around the social media efforts that we have. But in addition to having a lot of different options for you to get this information, the goal is really that there will be some centralized places where you will have consistency in finding what you need, and be able to give us some feedback on how we can continuously improve what we're doing to meet your needs. We want you to get involved, and that's sort of my last call of the day in terms of this program. We want you to, if you haven't already been invited to participate and you want to, please reach out to us. We have some events coming up that we want to highlight, one of which is the new faculty series. We have sent communication to all new faculty, both adjunct and full-time, about these seminars that are being hosted again by the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning, in collaboration also with the faculty associations. So I encourage you to participate and attend. We have revamped and redesigned General Assembly. You've probably heard a lot about that. There have been some questions that we've gotten about the changes. One of the reasons that the change happened was to allow for more participation from student services and even faculty, because if you consider the fact that we were offering General Assembly or hosting it the Friday before classes started on the following Monday, while there was a lot of attendance and collaboration and certainly the concept of meeting and seeing everybody before the semester started, the idea here is that we want to re-engage faculty in some of the work, and staff, in some of the work that we're doing with strategic planning efforts. And that's why General Assembly was moved to a new date. It was also expanded. We've included some afternoon sessions at the hotel. We've added a lunch period. And in those afternoon sessions, different areas of the college will be looking at some long-range planning work that deals with engagement, it deals with innovation, it deals with faculty core values and some work around that. We will have these updates for you, the ACC TLED updates, once a month, and we will be featuring and highlighting the services and the staff in our area. We're going to be hosting some open forums like we did last year with Kay McClenny and Brad Phillips, who are Achieving the Dream coaches. We're going to be hosting those for faculty again. And those are a combination of presentations, workshops, as well as hands-on work sessions for faculty. Distance Learning Week is coming up, National Distance Learning Week, and our program for November will feature the Distance Learning Office and some of the work that they're doing. And then through the Faculty Center for Teaching and Learning, FCTL, we have computer side chats and Chalk Talk. Those are campus-based events that you can participate in, and there's some URLs there for you to take a look at. That covers most of what I wanted to talk about. There are clearly many, many other things that are going on in our area. Again, I invite you to reach out to me or to any of the different offices that we have. If you want to get more information or participate, please take a look at the website. I appreciate that you took the time to watch today, like I said, we hope that you will get involved in some of these events that we have coming up. I want to highlight for you one particular thing in closing. We are supporting and the work that the faculty are doing with the faculty core values and the forums that they're having. You should have received communication about that. I invite you to participate and attend. There will be follow-up to those at the General Assembly event on the 29th and thereafter. And in closing today, as I thank you, we're going to play a video that highlights the work that's been done on that and the work that the faculty are doing. So thank you.
Here we are, 2017, and we're looking at faculty values. We're looking at full-time adjunct faculty. We're looking at our students, and we're saying, what are the tools that we can use to make the learning experience and the teaching experience better?
What I'm hoping will come out of this whole process is that it will spark a broader discussion across the board with full-time and adjunct faculty about what does it mean to be a faculty member.
There have been a lot of changes in the last few years, so there's a broader effort to have faculty engagement. How do we make sure faculty feel comfortable and welcomed? And part of that is by understanding faculty and what drives them and what our value system is, and then making sure that that's integrated with all the experiences that we have on campus.